Hello, how's it going? It is Wednesday, and I wanted to hop on here because I was sharing on my Instagram stories this morning that I've been sitting and preparing a bunch of notes for the newest Flow of the Hormone Project course that is starting and launching on September the 25th. And I had put a post out yesterday in an email, a couple of this week actually, sharing my experience of being on the birth control pill, how it felt for me, how I was able to cruise through being on the birth control pill for the first couple of years, but then in the last couple of years of being on it, so let me set that by saying I went on the pill when I was 15 years old. I came off the pill when I was around 22 years old. So I have been off the pill now for, many, many years. But those first couple of years, I felt fine on it. And then I started to have some signs and symptoms. I was getting breakthrough bleeding. Just something was off. So I went back to the family doctor. I explained what was going on. At the time then, I was, towards my latter teens, early 20s, and the doctor said, no problem, we'll just put you on a new pill. Your body's just probably gotten too used to that one. We'll put you on a new pill. Got started on a new pill, had crazy signs and symptoms, major mood swings, cried at everything, was really irritable, breast tenderness, started to break out, bleeding got heavier. And then I started to have breakthrough bleeding again. Went back to my family physician, said, no problem, maybe that one's a bit too strong for you. Let's put you on another one. Went on that one, same thing happened. And the third time that I went back to the doctor and said, look, I don't know much about this, but what I have been reading and what I am starting to understand about the female body is that this type of hormonal, treatment in my system is not resonating with me, and I'm not feeling good. And this is when he said to me, well, maybe we need to actually talk about Prozac. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was absolutely blown away. And it was in that moment that I realized and knew that there had to be a different way, and that other women, I was probably not the only one standing in a doctor's office having that conversation, and that other women were going through this, and that I needed to start to learn more so I could start to educate and change the spectrum of how we are being educated on our bodies. When I put this post out there, the feedback I got was incredible. Women saying I thought I was the only one. The same thing happened to me. I'm going through this right now. And what I really wanted to talk to you about was not only what happens when you're on the birth control pill, but what's happening in our system when we try to come off of the pill. There's really no way of weaning your body off of birth control. Whether we're talking about the pill itself, whether we're talking about an IUD, we're talking about the shot, we're talking about a patch, whatever it may be, any synthetic hormones that you are taking to try and suppress your body's ability to get pregnant. Now, this is one of the things here, is that some women are on the birth control pill because they don't want to get pregnant. Some women are put on the birth control pill because they have acne. This is a huge one. This is the most prescribed form of medication and treatment that doctors are using nowadays with teenage girls and hormonal women who are, and when I say hormonal women, what I mean by that, women who are kind of entering that 8 to 15 year period of perimenopause, skin is out of whack, maybe they have insulin resistance, they've got some early signs of polycystic ovarian syndrome that have yet to be picked up. They have exacerbated PMS. Their menstrual cycles are all over the place. They're heavy. They don't know when it's coming or when it's ending. And a doctor's resolution is to just hop on the birth control pill. Let's just put you on the pill. It'll regulate your cycle. It'll calm everything down. It'll create the predictability for you. And I'm going to tell you that it's probably not your best choice to make for your body. The longer that we're on the birth control pill, the greater the effects that we have in terms of those signs, symptoms, and side effects associated with it. The biggest one for women that I see in my practice is the mental emotional connection, the anxiety, the depression, the mood swings, the weight gain, the breast tenderness. Not to mention that being on the birth control pill is very depleting to our body in terms of our micronutrients, mainly our minerals, but also in a big way your B6, your B12, your folic acid, which is women, this is really important that our folic acid stores are rich so that when we do, or if we choose to have a child, that we have that there for our body to be developing this growing baby within us. Also very depleting to your magnesium, in all all of us living in society nowadays have this deficiency of magnesium that's going on based on our signs and symptoms. And when you put the birth control pill in there with it as well, that magnesium starts to deplete even more. Zinc and vitamin C. So it is affecting our body on not just a, immune base on those antioxidants that are being reduced, but on a mineral base. And those B vitamins are critical for your body to be able to respond to stress. The vitamin C and the B vitamins and the zinc and magnesium are also critical to your adrenals being super nourished and being able to manage and handle whatever it is that's going on in your day. Gut health is often implicated by the birth control pill as well. Not to mention that one of the biggest issues, and this is really what I deal with in my practice, this is a lot of what we talk about throughout the Hormone Project, is that I'm working with women who were on the pill years ago, maybe even decades ago, and their body is still showing signs of having estrogen dominance, of having, a higher than normal level of these synthetic hormones and chemicals still sitting in their liver, still sitting in their fat cells, still sitting in their body, still kind of leaving their mark and wreaking havoc. That in combination with living in an environment where there's a lot of toxic estrogens and different forms of chemical disruptors that are going on. And so we're working from a place of trying to cleanse and chelate those toxins from an estrogenic perspective out of the body via the liver, the bowels, making sure that everything is supported and functioning and working well as a whole. And, beyond doing that from a food perspective, a supplement perspective, herbs, different things like that, it's really important to understand that, first of all, the most important thing I think is actually being able to track and know what's going on in your cycle. So if I have a woman who comes to me who has hormonal acne, who has bloating, breast tenderness, headaches, migraines, cravings, all these different things that are associated specifically around the time she's ovulating, around the time that she's moving into her cycle, and then when she's actually on her bleed, then there are going to be certain foods and certain things that I'm having her eat, consume, and do at those times, and others that I'm having her avoid based on her signs and symptoms. But the only way we know that is if you're actually tracking your menstrual cycle. So being on the pill, you might be able to tell me, oh, I get my cycle every 28 days, but you aren't getting your cycle. The pill is prescribing your cycle. You are not getting or creating your cycle. Your body has no part in that. The chemical form that is happening, that pill you're taking every day, is dictating and determining and presetting that environment for you to actually have a bleed. If you were to come off that pill, would your body have that same type of flow? Would your cycle be synced within your system the same way? Probably not. So we really want to be able, before we ever get onto any type of medication, when it's coming to managing our periods, our moods, our emotion, our weight, whatever it may be, you have to start to track your cycle. So that isn't just tracking when you're bleeding. You have, 4 very distinct phases that happen every single month. And, this is why when we talk about it, it's like, men have a 24-hour period in their body. Every 24 hours, everything resets. As women, we have a 25 to 35 day cycle depending on what's going on in your body. There are many different variables. It's why, our health and our way we show up in life is never like this. We're a little bit like this. And if you're unhealthy and there's a lot of imbalances, your extremes are like this. Your mood is here, your mood is here. Your cravings are here, your cravings are here. Your weight's all over the place, inflammation and gut becomes a mess. And so when you can start to actually track what's happening in your cycle, when are you getting it? What is your bleeding like? What's the color of it? What other signs and symptoms do you have? What other type of cervical mucus do you have that's going on throughout the month? What other sensations? How is your body weight? What's your water intake? What are the things you're craving? Is it more salty or is it more sweet? And you can start to track all of this. Do you get headaches? Are you breaking out? Where is your acne when you're breaking out? Do your bowels change for you? How do you interact with the other people in your life? Are you more emotional? Where's your libido at? Do you have a sex drive or do you not want to be touched at all? This can help us to really understand what's going on at an internal level before we even see blood work with your levels of estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone. Also gives a good indication of how well your adrenals are coping, what's going on with your cortisol curve. Lets us know as well too what's happening in the thyroid, the pituitary gland, like your whole endocrine system is working together. And all of these hormones in this system system are chemical messengers. They are really like the pen that is putting itself to paper and writing the story of how you feel and how you show up in your body. So the more that we can understand about our menstrual cycle as women, this opens up an entire gateway to how you can prescribe the way that you live for yourself for the rest of your life. Everything from how you're eating and how you're supplementing, the type of exercise and when to do it, the amount of rest your body needs. Also, creativity-wise, when is the best time of the month based on your internal flow to be jumping into new projects, to new events? When is the time that you need to have that fertile void and actually pull back and ground yourself and, kind of cocoon yourself, do more writing, have a tea, go for a walk by yourself, hide in the bathtub from your children for a period of time. So this is the kind of stuff that back then when I was going through my struggles, being on the birth control pill, what was going on with my skin, these were all awesome gifts. These were gifts that were just starting to point me universally in the right direction to say, Jen, this is what you need to be teaching. And I didn't know it then. I didn't know 20 some odd years ago that I was actually just in the developmental stage of being able to create and cultivate the Hormone Project. Every ounce of work I have done in everything from exercise to biomechanics, physiology, yoga, Pilates, nutrition, the Simplicity Project, being in my kitchen, having my children, everything has been leading up to creating the Hormone Project. I'm going into my 4th time of teaching it. It is going through another evolution again of not only tracking our cycles this time, but cycle syncing as well too. It is a brand new 3-phase meal plan that we're going through. We're talking a lot about how to really support the liver, full-on adrenal protocol, gut protocol. I'm doing a whole webinar September 19th, next Tuesday at noon, talking more about this. But for today, I just wanted to come on and share with you the vital role that understanding cycling and syncing of your cycling and tracking it makes in your body. If you're able to do this on a daily basis, your whole month can actually really start to teach you how to learn the language of your body. And in turn, your eating habits, your sleep, your sex drive, what you supplement with, the movement, all of those things in your life can start to have more simplicity, more ease in how it flows through everything that you are doing. Your period shouldn't be your monthly pain in the ovaries. Your period shouldn't be this thing that we detest and our daughters are hearing us saying, oh, it's awful. Just ignore it when it comes. Just try to get through it. Take an ibuprofen. Like, it's crazy. I have these conversations with my daughter who's 11, and mind you, she is like, oh my gosh, mommy, I don't want to know this. But there's going to come a time where she's going to have one of these symptoms. Something's going to happen in her body, and she's going to start to be like, okay, I've heard mommy talk about that before. And she's going to be in a more empowered place to know how to handle it and to know the next question to ask. Instead of feeling shame around it, feeling confused, feeling like something is wrong with her body, we want to get to this place where we are in harmony with our systems. And when you can learn the unique biochemistry of your body, because ladies, we all flow and cycle, but none of us flow and cycle the same. So when you can really start to understand what is happening in your month, and even if you don't bleed anymore, maybe you're suffering from amenorrhea, maybe you've gone through full menopause and you're on the other end and you're postmenopausal, you still have a cycle every month. You still have 4 distinct phases. It's now being governed by the lunar cycle that's going on in different energies within your body, but you are still producing hormones. When those ovaries shut down, the adrenals kick in. And this is why we need to make sure that we're super nourishing and taking care of the adrenals, because the signs and symptoms that show up in our late 30s, our 40s, 50s, and 60s, we needed to start to take care of those things and set our body up preventatively in our late teens and in our 20s and early 30s. Now, if you're like, well, then shit, I am just out of luck because I've already passed those ages and stages, I'm going to teach you the ways that you can mitigate the signs and symptoms now. You can reverse those. You can be decreasing the amount of discomfort that you're in. I mean, I work with women where in one cycle, they will message me and be like, I can't believe this. I didn't have to take a day off work this time. I didn't get the normal huge cysts I get around my jaw. I didn't bark at my family. My flow wasn't so debilitating and so heavy that I didn't have to change my tampon or my pad every hour. I can't even believe this. What's going to happen next month? And the answer is that every month things that get better, and we start to dissolve a lot of those issues that are happening, and we create this feminine cycle freedom and this overall hormonal balance. It's very difficult to heal your adrenals and your thyroid when your menstrual flow is so heavy that it is literally sucking the life, the iron, the B12, the vitamin D, the magnesium, the B6, the zinc, everything out of you. How do you possibly get energy if you've got this heavy clotting flow every month? So we need to work from the ground up. I think I'm going to leave it at that because there's so much of this and more that I'm going to be talking to you about next Tuesday, September 19th at noon in a webinar that I am doing for free. And yes, it will be recorded. We're going to be putting the registration link out there later on today, but I'm also going to have visuals and show you and talk to you about this curve and this charting so that you can just start to understand this, and we'll go much deeper into it. So thanks for hopping on with me today. Have a fantastic rest of your day. If you're not already following me on Facebook, obviously you are, you're here with me now, but maybe not on Instagram. It is Jen Pike, JenNPike, as well as Simplicity Jen on Twitter. Head on over to jenpike.com. Opt in for our weekly email so that you know when the webinars are happening. You get access to my free video series, to my free recipes, and so much more. Have a great rest of your day.